In our community lately we have been doing some remodeling, so I have a favor to ask. I need a toddler who can move around the furniture in our living room. That doesn't make sense. And that's somewhat what Jesus said when the apostles went to him and said, increase our faith. And we responded with that interesting. If you have the faith of a mustard seed, you will tell the mulberry tree, be uprooted and be planted in the sea, and he will obey you. So what does Jesus really mean when they went to him and said, increase our faith? You know, the mustard seed has the size of more or less a poppy seed. And the mulberry tree is the tree that is known to be so strong that its roots are very deep in the ground. It's one of the strongest trees they knew back then. So increased faith, it's not a matter of quantity, but it's a matter of quality for Jesus. Because faith is a relationship. Faith actually is the doorway we have to enter into a relationship with God. So every time we seek this relationship, every time we open ourselves to this relationship, faith increases. Faith starts growing. So in this perspective, we can understand sin. Because if faith is a relationship, sin is something that harms your relationship with God, your relationship with yourselves, your relationship with others. Origen said, where there are sins, there are divisions. Every time we experience in life some sort of division, there might be sin right there. October is Respect Life Month. This Sunday is Respect Life Sunday. And I think it's important to understand the word respect. Respect, like many words we use, comes from Latin, and it means look again. Yes, look again, because maybe at first glimpse you have missed something when you look at somebody. And so when you respect, you have an extra care, extra attention, and you look again, and you realize that something maybe have missed your attention. Let me give you a few examples. So when you desire to have an intimate relationship with somebody, and maybe you are tempted to divide pleasure on one side and unity and openness to life and commitment. So like that union is not free, total, faithful, and fruitful anymore. Respect. Look again. There's somebody there who needs your care. There's somebody there that is not an object per se. It's somebody that is not meant just for your satisfaction or your desire of affirmation or being loved. Respect, look again. Children are gifts from God. Children are not like a side effect you want to try to minimize. Or when you find yourself carrying inside yourself the miracle of miracles, when you find yourself inhabited by life, and maybe because of struggles, because of fear, because where you are right now, you don't realize that as a gift from God. You don't realize that you have been chosen by God and you've been entrusted by God with that gift. Look again, respect. Jesus is next to you. Jesus is willing to walk with you step by step. And he's willing to pick you up when it's needed. Or when you're on the other side, maybe you want to become a parent at all costs. So you're tempted to bend science and God's plan to your will of conceiving, dividing generation from God's gift freely given. Respect. Look again. What you leave behind in labs, hibernation, are other human beings created in the image and likeness of God. And they are called to be cared and respected as much as anyone else. Or when you fall into the trap of the utilitarian culture or the culture of waste that Pope Francis uses this expression, and maybe you are tempted to lock elderly, sick people, dying, where you don't see them, to get rid of them as problems, dividing earthly life from everlasting life, and don't see that passage in between. Respect. Look again. In front of you there are no burdens, but living connection and memories with your own personal history, with your own past, people who carry wisdom and gentleness of heart. Remember the conversation I had with a good and faithful man, and the conversation went along this line, more or less. So, you know, Father, I have no problem in believing that God is three-person, communion of person, and love. I have no problem in believing that the second person of the Trinity, for our sake, chose to be incarnate, suffered, died, to redeem us, to forgive us from every sin, and rose again. I have no problem to believe that what I see being a piece of bread is actually his body and blood, soul, and divinity, and if I'm in a state of grace, I can receive him fully and enter in communion with him. But church's teaching about sexuality, about life, that's the hardest teaching I have a problem with. How true are these words? And so I think I need to give a shout out to all the married couples out there who do live NFP, who do live sexuality according to God's plan. I respect you. I look again, and I'm inspired by your witness. I want to thank you, all those who are out there and choose to wait in their relationship. Wait before marriage to express some sort of love, who live and respect the dignity of each other and are almost in awe in front of each other. And even if it wasn't your choice from the get-go of your relationship, and maybe you got to that point and to that beauty later on in your relationship, I respect you. I look again at you, and I see true love made manifested among us. And I want to thank all of you who are out there and treat the elderly people and those in early stage of life with reverence and with care. Maybe you are even actively participating in rosary chains, Manifestation for Life, Gabriel Project, Nativity House, just to name a few. I respect you. I look again at you, and I see your zeal and passion for life for the weakest member of our society. And I see the way Jesus cared for those who were in need, those who were going to him. And finally, I want to make a thank you and give a shout out to all of you out there who have made mistakes in the past. Maybe because of fear, maybe because you were ashamed, maybe because you were far from your faith and faith didn't matter much for you at that time. I respect you. I look again at you and I see how in your life you are living the gospel of repentance and forgiveness because you have chosen to move on. You have chosen to not to have sins define who you are. You know, there is nothing to be forgiven. There is nothing that can create a wound so deep that God's love and mercy and care cannot heal and restore. Come to the sacrament of reconciliation. Maybe find healing in some of the retreat, and I'm thinking Rachel's Vineyard, for example, or other healing retreat that may bring in you the grace of God and His healing. Maybe all of us actually need a boost in faith. All of us need to cry out with the apostles, Lord, increase our faith. You know, the saying goes, every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. So wherever you are right now, have hope, because the future is brighter ahead of you.